Oh yeah, and there we go. We have now connected to the machine. All right, what is up, everybody? I am so excited that we are finally at the point to do our first box, because doing the boxes is what is really fun. Today we're going to jump right in and get going. So we're going to be on Try Hack Me because they have some good free rooms that we're going to do, so you can get started in this without having to pay anything. First thing that you got to do is, once you get in here, you're going to need to sign up. So when you come to tryhackme.com, then you're going to want to sign up, and you're going to want to create an account. And then once you get an account created, come over here to your profile. Now in this case, what I have done is, this is not my original profile. I made a new profile that you can notice here has nothing in it. The rank is really low. We'll see how high we get the rank just by doing the boxes. But I would click on the profile here. You want to go to access. Then you're going to want to go down here to this open VPN details. That's what you want. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you pick the VPN server that you want. In my case, I wanted US East regular one. They have several here. Obviously, you can't use the VIPs unless you're a paid subscriber. Once you pick your VPN server, you're going to download your configuration file. So once you download it, you need to find out where it is on your machine. Now, in my case, I've got it here in my downloads folder. And then what you're going to do is, you're going to want to just drag it over into the column over here on cursor. You can see I've got cursor open over here, and you can see I've already done that. I've already dropped it in there. And remember, the beautiful thing about using cursor and connecting it, you can see SSH, we have connected to our Kali box over here. We'll just verify that. I'll log into it, and I'm going to type my IPA. Remember, that's what we use to be able to see what our IP address is. And there's our IP address, 192.168.61.128. We can see peeking out over here. That is the SSH we're connected to with cursor. Now we've dropped in the OpenVPN file into cursor. And in this case, I opened. And let me show you that in case you don't remember how to do that. I'm going to close this folder. So you may get in here. You're going to want to make sure you click on this open remote if you haven't done it. When you click on that, you're going to click connect to host, and you're going to put in your username at the IP address of your Kali box. Once you're connected to the Kali box, you're going to hit open folder. You're going to go to, in this case, I have repos and I have notes, and that's the one I want. And I'm going to hit OK. And then in my notes folder, once it pops up here, and then you're going to want to open the folder. We're going to click, actually, I've got it right there already. You can see it's got some recent files right there. We're going to click open folder. We're going to go to repos. We're going to go to notes, and we're going to hit OK. And there we go. And there it is. There's the open VPN file that we need to connect to Try Hack Me, and an empty notes file. Okay, so now let's jump into the Kali box. Here we are. Now, to figure this out, you might be like, well, how do I use this open VPN file? Well, the first thing, we're going to use our working directory. We are in here. We're going to use our LAH, and there it is. There's our open VPN file. I'm going to use SGPT. And oh, there it is right there, because I've already done this one in preparation for this. So SGPT/S, remember, that's how we ask for a command. Connect to VPN using the frankrules.openvpn file, and we hit enter, and it gives us the command. Now, we don't, if I hit execute, it's not going to work. You just have to read what it says. It says operation not permitted, and that's because it needs to be run as sudo. So we're going to put in here as root, which I think if I do that, that may not quite be what I want. Let's see what it does. It did. Okay, good. Okay, so instead we want sudo openvpn config file frankrules.vpn. Now I'm going to give you a trick here. Don't execute if you want this to go into your history file. If you hit execute, this doesn't get stored in your history, and you won't have this command. But if you hit abort and now just copy this, Control-Shift-C, and then down here Control-Shift-V, now I've copied it. And now I hit this, I have to put in my password. Now we are connected to the VPN. You're just gonna wanna leave this tab open, because this is a running process and you don't get your terminal back. So I've got a new tab open over here, file, new tab. And I did the Kali dark. So there we go. We've got the VPN connected. Let's verify, trust but verify. And we go over here to Try Hack Me, and we can see here it says not connected, but if I refresh,
still says not connected, even though I am like pretty sure that we are connected just fine. So I don't know why it's doing that. We'll keep going and see if it, what if I refresh there?
Huh. Okay, well, we're going to keep going because I know this says I'm connected. I think this page just may not update very well. All right, so we're going to do a box called RootMe. To get there, you're going to want to go to Learn and Search. And then down here in this Find Content, you're going to type in RootMe. And here's the room right here. I'm going to right click and open it. I actually already had it open right there, but it's fine. I'm going to click in here. Here's RootMe. Now, for you, it'll say you need to join the room. So click the button to join the room. And then once you've done that, we're ready to get started. Task 1, deploy the machine. Now, the way these rooms work is you come down here and you've got these tasks, and right over here is the little drop down. You see this little guy right here is the symbol that is kind of telling you where the machine is at, the virtual machine to start. We're going to hit start machine, and we got to wait just a second for it to start. Okay, while we're waiting on that other machine to start up, let me explain to you exactly what we have going on here. Here's TryHackMe's infrastructure, and we just told it start the RootMe VM box, the CTF, and we connected by VPN to this box. There we go. VPN. What that means is your machine is here. In my case, it's the Windows machine. And then we have a Kali VM running inside the machine. And inside the Kali VM, we started up the VPN. That stands for Virtual Private Network. We'll talk about that most likely in a rabbit hole. Virtual Private Network. And because we're using this Virtual Private Network, it creates a tunnel, a dedicated tunnel into the TryHackMe infrastructure so that we can get to this RootMe box and so that we're able to talk to it and work on it. So that's how that works, so you can kind of visualize exactly what we've done now. So now that that's over, let's go back to, here's RootMe, TryHackMe Network, deploy the machine. We clicked it, and yes, so we've completed that. Okay, now let's see. Next thing we need to do is do some recon on this machine. So let's go back over here and do that. I guess the other thing we need is the IP address from the box, because that's one of the things it'll give you right here. So there it is. You've got a nice copy button right here, so we're going to copy that. All right, so now remember, I said we were going to be using AI to help us with this, and I meant it. So the first thing first, let's see, we're print working directory. We're in home, Knox, repos, notes. We're going to make a directory for this box. That's normally the thing I do, and we're going to make a directory called RootMe. Now we're going to change into the RootMe directory. And now if I hit print working directory, we are all the way in RootMe. Now, remember, we can see that from over here inside Cursor. So here we are in Cursor, and now there's a RootMe folder right here, okay? And that's great, because now as we save files and things about this box, as we're working through it, we're going to have a place that's easy to come over and edit and look at what we found so far. SGPT, the first thing we want to do is we need to run nmap on this machine. And again, we'll talk more about nmap later in a rabbit hole, but right now we're just trying to really quick pop this box and have some fun this morning. All right, the first thing we're going to want to do is run nmap on this machine. And we will talk more about what nmap is in a rabbit hole coming up. I remember I told you we're going to use AI for a lot of this stuff. And so to do that, we're going to use SGPT. And remember that S flag is there to help us tell SGPT that we want to find out what is the command. What is the command to run nmap against the 10.10.10.116 IP address. We want the top 1,000 ports. Be nice and give it a comma. Default scripts and all outputs. Again, we'll talk more about exactly what these things mean in a rabbit hole, but right now we just want to be able to run these things. I'm going to hit abort because, like we said before, if you just hit execute with SGPT, it doesn't get saved in the history, and I want this in the history. So there we go. We're going to run it. Okay, so nmap will start to run. It's going to scan for open ports on the box that we're running against, this RootMe box, and it's going to tell us what ports are open. Now, little trick, it looks like it's doing nothing. If you hit the space bar while you're waiting, you will see, oh, it's making a liar out of me. There it goes. You hit the space bar and it starts telling you how much time's elapsed and what it's doing. Hit it again, yeah. Oh, and it's done already. So we see that port 22 is open, that's SSH, and port 80 is open, and that's HTTP. And we told it to run those default scripts. So that means that it did these things like it looked for cookie flags. We see that it's got a PHP session ID. That means that this most likely is a site, a website that is using PHP. We see the title for the page. It's going to be Hack IT homepage. And HTTP server header, it's running Apache on Ubuntu, so we are trying to pop a Linux machine. So a lot of information right there. Now, if we go over to Cursor, remember we told this to use all outputs. That's what this is, all outputs in a file named nmap scan results. So if we go back to Cursor now and we look in our RootMe folder, now we have the results. So the first thing is just this. These are the different formats it gave us. This one's not very readable. This is XML. It is not very readable to humans at all. It's great for giving it to Python though. And then this one in the middle is the one we want. This one gives us a really nice readable output of the nmap scan, SSH and HTTP. With that in mind, let's open up the Firefox browser here in Kali, and we're going to go to this website. So what did we say? 10.10.10.116. And there it is, RootMe. All right, can you root me? I don't know. We'll find out. So usually when you get an actual website like this running off of one of these boxes, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to wanna run GoBuster. What GoBuster does is it is a directory scanning tool. So it's going to try to look for common directory names, I don't know, like CSS or JS or images, etc., and try to find some things. This is GoBuster. We're telling it to do a directory check. We're telling it to use the URL of 10.10. Oh, that's not right. 10.10. It's from the last command I did. 10.10.10.116. And then we're telling it to use the W is for word list. So we're telling it to use the word list at user share word lists, dirbuster directory list 2.3 medium text. Every time in Kali Linux has a bunch of word lists that it's already given you, and they're all here at this user share word list. All right, so let's run this, and here we go. It helps if you put the right IP address in. So there we go. Now it's running. It's already found a directory. So let's go look at that. It'll continue to run in the background. So we're going to look at uploads. And right now there are no uploads, but we see that there is an uploads folder, which gives us the impression that somewhere on this site there is a way to upload files. And by the way, that's the way a lot of these boxes work. It's all about trying to, it's as much as it's about cybersecurity, it's also about just learning to think and learning to do your reconnaissance, enumerate the box. And when we say enumerate, we just mean gather a bunch of information about the box until all the pieces fit together. So there's a CSS folder, which looks like it has a couple of CSS files in it. Now there's a home CSS and a panel CSS. So I wonder if that means there's a panel page, because there's a home page and it has CSS, and a panel page and it has CSS. And sure enough, look over there. There is a panel page, and the panel, select file to upload. This is where we upload files. We'll let that keep running for now over here, but I think we've found what we need to find. So what we probably have here is this. We know that there is, let's open a new tab. We don't even need to. We know this site is running on PHP because of what we saw here. At least we assume that it's PHP because of this session ID PHP. So since it's a PHP site, and since we can upload files, and since we have now I'll open a new tab. Copy, paste. We have an upload directory. That means that we can upload a file here, and then we can click on it, and it should execute the file if it's a PHP file, because this is a PHP server. So we are going to try to create a reverse shell to be able to do this. So let's go back to I'm going to go ahead and stop this because we've got what we need for now. We go over here. Now I'm going to open up Perplexity. I love Perplexity, and I'm going to say, by the way, you have to kind of sweet talk it a little. I am working on a try hack me CTF, that's capture the flag, box. I need a PHP reverse shell. Let's see. Sometimes these LLMs get a little bit miffy about trying to help you with this stuff, but usually if you preface it and say you're working on Try Hack Me or you're learning, or you say that it's a capture the flag box, it'll be like, oh, you're doing this for science, and it'll be cool. Pin Test Monkey, you'll see this guy a lot. This repository, here it is. So let's open this up. It gives a script here, but it may just be trying to make that itself. So let's go to Pin Test Monkey and look at the one it has. So if we look here, PHP reverse shell, it's right here. PHP reverse shell 9 years ago. Love it. Love it. All right, so here's our PHP. Now, if we click raw here, you can do this on any GitHub page. Click raw. And then another trick, if you hit Control A, you'll get all. And then you can Control C, and you're going to paste. Or excuse me, copy. Then let's go back to cursor. This is why we love having cursor. So now we're in RootMe. We're going to hit new file, and we're going to put p shell for PHP shell PHP. Okay, and we're going to paste it. All right, now when you do these shells, okay, the shell has no idea what machine you're on or what machine you're trying to send the reverse shell back to. And again, we'll talk more about reverse shells. You don't have to understand exactly how they work right this moment. I just really want us to get through a box, experience the joy of a reverse shell, and then we'll start really talking about what they are. But when you're doing these scripts, you want to make sure you look through here, read some of this stuff. I'm not much of a reader myself, but I know you are too, or not either. So we see here the IP address, and notice it says change this, change that. This is where it's going to send to the reverse shell. We want it to send the reverse shell back to our Kali machine that we're working on. So again, we need to go in here and find our IP address. Now this is different though, because this is the IP address of this tunnel. See this? This is the tunnel. When we connect to the Kali box with our local machine, it uses this IP address because that's the local IP address of our Kali machine. But when we connect the VPN creates a tunnel to Try Hack Me. And so Try Hack Me, our identity to Try Hack Me is this IP address, okay? So that is 10.6.87.88. I'm going to go over here and we're going to put in 10.something.86.87. Oh my gosh, you guys are seeing just how bad my memory is going here. 10.6.87.88. Wow, I was way off. Way off. I'm going to just throw this over to the side. That would have been the smart thing to do from the beginning, right, guys? 10.6.87.88. Okay, so there it is. And then we need to change this port number to elite. That stands for elite, like elite. 1337. Because we are elite hackers. Hackers with a Z. Hackers. All right, so now we're going to create what's called a listener. So we have to catch the shell when it comes, okay? So to do that, we put in netcat, and you can see I've already got it here. LVNP1337, because that's the port, okay? Again, we won't waste time right now explaining all this. I'm going to do that in a rabbit hole that'll be long and boring for those of you that want to look at that. We hit enter, and now you'll notice our browser is waiting. It says it's listening on any. That means any IP address that tries to connect to 1337 on this machine, netcat is going to catch it, and we're going to get a session. So now we're going to update those are the only two things we need to update in this script. Everything else is fine. We're going to come over here and go to browse.
We're going to go to home, repos, notes, RootMe, shell.
Open, and now we're going to upload it. And we get not permitted. So what we have here is it says PHP files are not permitted to be uploaded. But what we can assume is happening here is how is it checking to see if it's a PHP file? Most likely it's only checking like is .php the extension on the file, and if it is, don't let it upload. So we're going to do one of the oldest tricks in the book. We're going to copy this guy. we're going to paste him. So now we have a copy of it. Now I'm going to rename it. First, I'm going to get rid of this P shell copy part, and then we're going to make it PHP 5 because PHP has interesting. You can have PHP 4, PHP 5. You can have, I think you can do even 6 or 7. But the point is that lets you tell PHP like what legacy version of PHP you're trying to run. So we're going to say PHP 5, and we'll see if the filtering that this site is using for the upload is that sophisticated, or if it is really only looking for like .php, and it's going to let .php 5 through. So we open that, we hit upload, and success. Now we have uploaded our PHP shell. All right, so now we need to refresh this page. Oh no, it's not there. But if we refresh, yes, it is. It's right there. So we're listening on 1337. We've got the file here. We're going to click on the file. Oh, yeah. And there we go. We have now connected to the machine. Did you notice that we see here connected to 10.6.87.88 from our machine? So we now have a shell connection. If I put in who am I am www data. And that is the user. That is usually the user for the Apache server. So in other words, this website has to run as a particular user on that Linux box, and it runs as the www data user. Now, let me tell you, these kind of shells are usually brittle. So the first thing we're going to want to do here is do a couple things to stabilize the shell and to know, and to just do a little quality of life. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an alias for ll equals ls-lah, because that will drive me insane. I want to hit ll and look at files like I just did right there, and that is not going to be there by default when you connect with this little crappy shell. Next thing I want to do is a classic script kiddie thing to get a little better shell than what we have right now. You see right now we just have that little $sign. So first thing we're going to do is see if Python's on the machine. Which Python? Python exists at user bin Python. What about which Python 3? Oh, Python 3 exists on this machine. Okay, so we have both. So it doesn't matter. We'll just use regular Python. So we'll do Python -m, or excuse me, -c for command. We're going to import pty, which is sudo terminal, is what that stands for. Sudo tty terminal, something like that. And then we hit semicolon to end that line. Next line of the command is pty.spawn. And what are we going to spawn? We're going to spawn bin bash. Because right now we're only in a shell. We're not actually in bash. I need to put my closing quote on there. And there we go. Now we have a full bash shell. It'll just look a little nicer and things will work a little better. So there we go. Bash 4.4. Okay, now let's ll again. Oh, my alias is gone because technically I have a new shell. ll equals ls-lah. Okay, so there we go. So let's look at these folders real quick here. I don't see our user.txt in this. Where are we at? Oh, it dropped us down to /. All right, so let's change directory to user www-data. That's where that lives. If you are that, oh, it is not. What in the world? It's var. That's right. Change directory var. ll. There's www. Change directory www-data. It's var and then www. And there it is. So now we're going to cat the user.txt in here. I won't worry about doing that right now. I will let you do it so that you have the pleasure of actually finding it and putting it in inside the box to be able to get your points and try hack me because it's fun. And then now we have to figure out how to get to root. We call it escalating our privileges. So on this one, it's just going to be easy. we'll notice here that there is a bash history. And if you've gone through the other parts, you know that history is supposed to show you all the commands you've done, and it actually does. And so we see here that the history of the user www data is in here already, and they actually give you the find permissions 4000, and that is for what's called an SUID. Again, not going to explain that right now. We'll do that in the rabbit hole for the longer version of this. But you can see that they already have this command in here. So we're going to copy this command, and we're going to run this command, paste. And now you'll notice that's not a $sign like we had before. This is now a number sign. And this is what you get when you are on a root shell. So if I put in who am I now, I am root. So now that I'm root, let's do ID. Yeah. Interesting. But I am root right now. So now I can change directory into the root folder. And now if I ls-lah, because I know I lost my alias again, there is root.txt, and you can cat root.txt and get that flag, and that's it. You have now completed the box. And I don't think this box has any other things in it that you will need. Now, what I would suggest you do is inside here, I would open a new tab, because this tab has your OpenVPN, so you don't want to mess with it. This tab has your shell to your target box, so you don't want to mess with it. So make another new tab, Kali Dark, make it a little bigger. And then here we are in the RootMe folder. And what you want to do is you want to do something like, if you do echo, and then paste in here, user. I'm putting the brackets because the brackets mean like user flag here. So get the user flag, paste it in there, and then do this into a file called user.txt, right? And now if I go back over here, that created the file user text, and you can see user flag here. So that's what I would do to be able to get the flag back over into Cursor, and then you can copy it from here over into your try hack me, and you'll see here you were supposed to get a shell. I've already got, oh no, you can see it. Get a shell. I'll cover them up. You can get a shell and then privilege escalation, and there you go. So, and then you can finish this box out. So that's the very first box. That was RootMe. Wanted to get through that a little quicker. I'll do a rabbit hole and we'll go through the box again, except it'll probably be much longer because I will just pontificate about all the different things, and we'll get really deep in the weeds about how everything works. But good luck getting this box rooted.